2. The Utah Mammoth entered Thursday night's matchup against the Seattle Kraken with a clear sense of urgency. After dropping 3 straight games, the expansion franchise was searching for stability, confidence, and a spark that could reset its early season momentum. By the time the final horn sounded, the Mammoth had found exactly what they needed. Behind a standout 3-point performance from Schmaltz and a composed, disciplined team effort, Utah delivered one of its most complete performances of the season, earning a statement victory over Seattle and halting its skid in convincing fashion. From the opening face-off, the Mammoth looked like a team determined to rewrite the narrative surrounding their recent struggles. Their pace was sharper, their puck movement more decisive, and their defensive structure noticeably tighter. Seattle, meanwhile, entered the contest, hoping to build consistency of its own, but quickly found itself under pressure as Utah controlled early possession and dictated the tempo of play. The Mammoths' renewed intensity was evident, not just in the shots on goal, but in the way they contested every inch of ice, forcing turnovers and disrupting the Kraken's rhythm. Schmaltz wasted little time asserting his influence on the game. Operating with confidence and creativity, Schmaltz became the engine of Utah's offense, seamlessly transitioning between playmaker and finisher. His vision opened passing lanes that hadn't been there in previous games, and his ability to anticipate Seattle's defensive coverage gave the Mammoth a critical edge. Schmaltz's first point of the night came as a result of sustained offensive zone pressure, a sequence that perfectly encapsulated Utah's renewed commitment to structured, patient hockey. As the game progressed into the first period, Utah continued to capitalize on its momentum. The Mammoth struck first, setting the tone and forcing Seattle to play from behind. That early goal energized the home crowd and visibly boosted Utah's confidence, while Seattle was left scrambling to regroup. The Kraken attempted to answer with physicality, leaning on their forecheck to slow Utah's transition game. But the Mammoth responded with poise, absorbing pressure and countering with quick outlet passes that kept Seattle on its heels. Seattle did manage to find moments of pushback, particularly through its top offensive units, but UTA's defensive execution stood out. The Mammoth limited high-danger chances, protected the slot, and forced the Kraken to settle for shots from the perimeter. UTA's goaltender played a steady, composed game, treading pucks well and making key saves when Seattle briefly threatened to swing momentum. Each stop seemed to reinforce Utah's belief that this night would be different from the frustrating losses that preceded it. Schmaltz's second point of the night came at a pivotal moment. With Seattle beginning to generate sustained pressure, Utah needed a response, and Schmaltz delivered. Whether it was a perfectly timed assist or a scoring play born from anticipation and positioning, his involvement once again underscored his importance to the Mammoth's offensive identity. The goal extended Utah's lead and served as a psychological blow to the Kraken, who had been inching closer to leveling the game. By the second period, the contrast between the two teams became increasingly apparent. Utah played with cohesion and purpose, executing clean line changes and maintaining defensive discipline. Seattle, on the other hand, struggled to find sustained chemistry, with turnovers and miscommunications undermining their attempts to mount a comeback. The Kraken showed flashes of skill, but those moments were too often followed by costly mistakes that Utah was quick to exploit. One of the defining aspects of Utah's performance was its special teams discipline. Avoiding unnecessary penalties allowed the Mammoth to keep their momentum intact, while their own power play opportunities were handled with patience and structure. Schmaltz played a central role in these situations as well, orchestrating puck movement and drawing defenders out of position. His hockey IQ was on full display, making subtle plays that didn't always show up on the stat sheet but were instrumental in maintaining Utah's offensive flow.
Yes.
As the game entered the third period, Seattle faced an increasingly narrow path to recovery. Trailing on the scoreboard and struggling to generate quality scoring chances, the Kraken needed a spark, but Utah's defensive posture only grew stronger. The Mammoth clogged passing lanes, finished checks, and made Seattle earn every entry into the offensive zone. The frustration on the Kraken bench was evident as time ticked away and opportunities dwindled. Schmaltz completed his three-point night in the latter stages of the game, cementing his status as the contest's most influential player. The play itself was a reflection of Utah's collective effort, born from smart positioning, quick decision-making, and a relentless commitment to team hockey. For Schmaltz, the performance was not just about individual production, but about leadership, setting an example for a roster still carving out its identity in the NHL. Seattle did manage to register goals of its own, showing resilience and flashes of offensive capability. But each push was met with a calm, measured response from Utah, rather than retreating into a defensive shell. The Mammoth continued to play assertively, maintaining pressure and refusing to allow the Kraken to dictate the game's pace. That mindset proved crucial in preserving the lead and ensuring that the three-game skid would finally come to an end. The final minutes unfolded. UTA's bench exuded a sense of control and confidence that had been missing in recent outings. Players blocked shots, won key face-offs, and made the simple plays necessary to close out the game. When the final horn sounded, it marked not just a single victory, but a potential turning point for a franchise eager to establish consistency and credibility in its inaugural season. For Seattle, the loss served as a reminder of the challenges that still lie ahead. The Kraken possess talent and experience. This game exposed areas that require refinement, particularly in defensive coverage and transition play. Falling behind early forced Seattle into a reactive posture, and despite moments of resilience, they were unable to fully recover. The coaching staff will undoubtedly look to this game as a teaching moment, emphasizing the importance of structure and discipline against a motivated opponent. From Utah's perspective, the win was about more than snapping a losing streak. A validation of process and preparation, a demonstration that the team's system can succeed when executed with commitment and confidence. Schmaltz's performance stood out, but he was quick to acknowledge the collective effort that made the night possible. Hockey, after all, is a team game, and UTA's success was built on contributions up and down the lineup. The Mammoth's ability to respond after a difficult stretch speaks volumes about the character of the group. Young teams often struggle to stop negative momentum, but Utah showed maturity beyond its years, channeling frustration into focus and determination. The coaching staff's adjustments were evident, particularly in the team's defensive spacing and neutral zone play, which limited Seattle's opportunities and created turnovers that fueled UTA's offense. Looking ahead, Utah will aim to build on this performance as it continues its schedule. Consistency remains the ultimate challenge, but games like this provide a blueprint for success. If Schmaltz can continue to lead offensively while the team maintains its defensive commitment, the Mammoth have the potential to surprise opponents and remain competitive throughout the season. Seattle, meanwhile, will seek to regroup quickly. The NHL schedule offers little time to dwell on losses, and the Kraken will need to address their shortcomings as they prepare for their next matchup. The talent is there, but execution and cohesion will be key if they hope to climb the standings and establish momentum of their own. In the end, Thursday night belonged to the Utah Mammoth. With a disciplined, energetic performance and a standout showing from Nick Schmaltz, Utah delivered a timely victory that halted a three-game skid and reignited belief within the organization. For fans and players alike, it was a reminder of what this team is capable of when preparation meets opportunity. And it may well serve as a foundation for better days ahead.